My goodness. Here now is Democratic strategist, former Clinton advisor Carrie Wofford, former Virginia Republican Governor Jim Gilmore, and Kellyanne Conway joins us again. Jim Gilmore, former governor of Virginia. I know the race isn't over till it's over, but it kind of looks like Mr. McAuliffe is going to win this one. What went wrong in Virginia? Is Virginia turning blue? What's going on there?
Well, you know, Larry, we obviously have to count the votes. We don't want to be wrong on any kind of assessment. But the answer to your question is, if Cuccinelli does not make it, it's going to be because he was characterized in the most extreme possible way and never was put himself in a position to really argue the material issues that might have won the majority in the election. For example, you made reference to the shutdown. Well, sure. And then he had the same stage with Ted Cruz, had Rand Paul come in, which continued to solidify that narrative. But the most important thing in Virginia is I do not believe the state is destined to be just a Democratic stronghold. I am convinced a conservative can win in Virginia. I won in Virginia by appealing to every interest group, every section of the state. I never wrote off anybody. And in addition to that, Larry, you have to talk about the key issues that are concerning people. And that's what I did, for example, when I offered to cut the car tax in Virginia. Right. That car tax carried Northern Virginia.
I remember that. That was brilliant.
Those are the magic things that you have to do.
That was a brilliant ploy. Yes. Carrie Wofford, welcome to the show. Carrie, I want to ask you sort of an offbeat question. I was talking to Luke Russert about this, our reporter down in McAuliffe headquarters. You know, Bill Clinton spent some time in Virginia, and Hillary Clinton spent some time in Virginia. And there's a lot of talk, you know, McAuliffe is a Clinton person, and there's a lot of talk about a Clinton organization and operation for former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that what the governor just said matters. I think in Virginia, what we saw tonight, as in New Jersey, was candidates win who appeal to the great bipartisan middle. So Ken Cuccinelli was too extreme. Terry McAuliffe was seen as someone who could get things done, who could work across party lines. He helped across party lines on a transportation bill, for instance. And he was seen as someone who brings people together. Same thing in New Jersey. Chris Christie brings people together. He's not afraid to collaborate with President Obama to clean up Hurricane Sandy. He's not afraid to collaborate with President Obama to expand Medicaid in his state. So you see the winners are people who can work across party lines, who can collaborate with everybody and bring everybody together and be effective. So effectiveness won in part.
Kellyanne Conway, 2 points. Number one, what Carrie Wofford just said, I've seen polls that show people want to get things done.
Correct.
They want to get things done. And the Republican Party, maybe it's a bad rap or not, but the shutdown thing really hurt them in the Northern Virginia suburbs. That's what's coming through loud and clear. Christie, on the other hand, is a guy who's a conservative. He's a tax cutter. He's a budget cutter. He ran against the unions. He's actually pro-life.
Thank you.
But he got things done. He got things done.
He got things done.
Is Carrie Wofford on? Is this the model Republicans should copy?
Well, look, one is running for an open seat, one is running for re-election. It's a very important distinction. What Chris Christie's about to do in my home state of New Jersey, I think my vote today, Larry, will put him over the top. What he's about to do in New Jersey is remarkable because keep your eye on whether he breaks a third of the vote among Hispanics, a third among Asians, a third among Democrats. He may even get a good portion of union households. This is a guy who's really busted up the teachers' unions and making people pay for their own pensions. Imagine that. But you know what? People do like credibility and competence. Just to disagree with what Carrie said, there's absolutely no poll I've seen that shows Terry McAuliffe well-liked and even well-respected for getting things done. He actually, Bob McDonnell, the embattled governor of Virginia, has a higher favorability rating than either McAuliffe or Cuccinelli, which tells you an awful lot. Christie is winning in New Jersey, and Ken Cuccinelli lost that race in Virginia. There's a big difference. Three quick things. Cuccinelli lost because he did not run hard and constantly against Obamacare. This is the first guy, Larry, in the whole country to sue over Obamacare, and he lost his Larry.
He didn't make it a big issue. He did make it a big issue in the last week. Right.
That's too late. Everybody made it a big issue in the last 10 days. The 10 Democratic senators have made it a big issue. Mary Landrieu and Ken Cuccinelli are saying the same thing this week. He should have been running on all along because as the government shutdown receded, he could have said, I've been against this for 4 years and I won't let it come to Virginia.
All right, let me go to Governor Gilmore. Jim,
Yes,
let's talk about this for a second. The Republican Party is fractured. It's divided. And I think it's fractured and divided in Virginia, too. Now, I'm not as familiar with the Libertarian Party in Virginia, but it's got to have some Tea Party blood in it. And 10% of them were voting for another guy. That hurt Cuccinelli. The GOP is fractured at the congressional level in the Senate, where they're all calling each other names. There's a little bit of a circular firing squad going on inside the Republican Party that can't be good, Jim Gilmore. How are they going to fix that? It's already affecting races, including today's.
I do think that we have seen a history of Republicans coming down on Republicans in Virginia, and that's been part of the problem. That's not something that's going on the Democratic side. Larry, I think the remedy has to be for the Republican Party to offer real solutions for people. Let's talk about what Kellyanne was talking about on Obamacare versus the shutdown. It really never got into an Obamacare argument in Virginia at all. It got into the question of a shutdown, which was the tone and approach that the Republican Party was taking, instead of an approach that looked like it was going to be proactive to try to solve a problem or offer a new type of approach on health care. It became a government shutdown. And yes, I think that did hurt Cuccinelli, both in Northern Virginia and in Hampton Roads. So I'm going to come back to the same theme. Conservatives can and will win. I won in Virginia by appealing to all different groups and making sure that you have a platform and an approach that's going to be seen as tolerant.
But they got to get out there.
That's going to be forthcoming.
They got to get out there. They have to go places. I mean, it's like the Republicans are too busy staying home. They're like couch potatoes. You know, my old friend, the late Jack Kemp, he was always in the projects. He was always out there trying to make contact. Carrie Wofford, I want to raise this point. I don't know what the exact polls are, but, you know, going into this race, for example, Cuccinelli had a terrible problem with women. He had a tremendous gender gap. I can't stand the gender gap, but he's got some, according to the Washington Post, a 24 percentage point gender gap. And I got to believe that he's going to have trouble with minority groups as well. Cuccinelli is a friend of mine. I had him on the radio Saturday, but this is not the way to win. Democrats are doing this better than Republicans are right now.
That's right. And you actually pointed to the divisiveness. When the governor said that conservatives can win, I think we need to modify that slightly. I think it's extremists cannot win. Republicans can win, but extremists cannot win. So Ken Cuccinelli, when you talk about immigrants, he likened immigrants to rats. And he had this fetal personhood bill, which would mean the women couldn't take the pill. I mean, it's so extreme. It's just way out there. Now, think about the Senate. There are a number of Senate seats held by Democrats today, which might well have been taken by Republicans if an extremist Tea Party candidate had not won the primary. So you think about Delaware, Indiana, Missouri, Nevada. There were some real extremists there, and they lost. So I think one of the lessons is extremists cannot win.
Okay, now hold on, Larry, I have to jump in. Ken Cuccinelli gave up a tremendous opportunity to turn around the extremist label on Terry McAuliffe. Pro-choice women in Virginia, there's no way that they believe partial birth abortion is a good idea the way Terry McAuliffe does. Sex-selective abortion. You have another girl? Forget that. Get rid of it. Terry McAuliffe believes that's okay. Pro-choice women, by and large, don't. Fetal
I actually think that's
Ken
a mistake.
Cuccinelli, well, hold on, Carrie. Ken Cuccinelli never called Terry McAuliffe what he is, which is an extremist on abortion. He never defended himself and sided with acquiescence.
I think the mistake, though, is to...
No, it would seem to me that maybe the better approach would be to talk to young people about why they can't get jobs, to talk about single women about why they can't get jobs, to send a message that something is good, it can be happen to this economy to get things moving.
I must say, I've said I have not, and I am not hearing a real economic growth message. This is true in a lot of things.
Bingo.
Senate, House, some of these state races. I'm just not hearing it, and it troubles me enormously.
And Americans don't want that.
And it's not just an important. It's not just an important political message. It's the absolute right thing to do.
All right, and a free market substitute for Obamacare. Carrie Wofford, thank you very, very much. Kellyanne Conway, Jim Gilmore, we appreciate it. Up next, a flat day for stocks, and some people saying